Mr. Farage, shall we? Well, look, he's under fire for this $5 billion. He should be so lucky. His £5 million bung from Christopher Harborne, the Thailand-based British crypto billionaire. This was to help Nigel pay for his own security. He has been seriously let down by Parliament over his personal security. He should have full security. He's probably the biggest target almost in Westminster. You know, he really is. And yet they took away most of his security. That's outrageous. So he does have expenses when it comes to his personal security. But people say £5 million. That seems like a lot. And he gets very tetchy when quizzed about it. And today, as I say, the front page, it's not the only paper, they're all running this big, is revealing that he raked in £270,000 for 12 hours work. That's £22,500 an hour.
A Prime Minister with a working majority of over 170 seats gone. Not voted out, pushed out by a man who 3 months ago wasn't even allowed into Parliament. Welcome to Britain Unpacked, where politics stops being boring and starts making sense. Quick favour, if you're loving this, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of viewers haven't yet. It's free, takes a second, and means the world to us. Thanks if you did. Now, back to the show.
Ambassador for a gold bullion dealer. So, $5 million from Christopher, 270 for 12 hours work. We understand the iPaper is now revealing that he has told friends he's worried about being found guilty of allegedly breaching parliamentary rules by accepting this £5 million within 1 year of becoming an MP. He claims he didn't break the rules, but he's worried that if he fails that, there will be a by-election in his constituency of Clacton. That presumably he'll re-stand in, but he's very worried about it. And there is serious talk at Reform Towers now that Mr. Farage will not lead Reform UK into the general election.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair, actually, to be honest, because I remember Ladbrokes, the betting shop, they had him at 50-50 staying on as leader, and that was just before the Makerfield by-election, actual polling day. This has been a long time coming, actually, because it's not just the one story, as you've just said. There's one incident and another and another, and eventually the asset on the ticket can become the drag on the ticket. He's done a great job to get Reform to where it is. If they want to push on, it might be worth him stepping away, but they need a kind of coronation of their own, if I'm being honest. But there's a lot of other structural things in Reform that really need to change. But on the issue of Farage himself, it's interesting that he's now started, these things are starting to come out, that he's talking to friends, and, you know, he had the incident with David Bull on Channel 5, where he was talking about he needs a rest. He needs to have a rest. I mean, that is not what you want to hear from a former insider.
A former chairman.
A former chairman, you know. It's
by the way, Farage sacked.
Oh, yes, exactly,
you know, I think in terms of David Bull, we're talking about a revenge being a dish best served cold. He went on to Channel 5 last week and said it's time for Nigel to take a break. He wasn't saying he should step down, but he says he needs
the implication.
More and more people are saying that. You know, I've got all these people say, oh, why are you talking about this? Well, Rachel, she writes in to say, I know you have to talk about the £5 million issue with Farage. Of course we do. We're journalists. We can't ignore this. It's on the front pages. Nigel Farage understands we have to talk about it. He was interviewed by Julia Hartley-Brewer earlier this week. Julia put him on the rack to talk about this £5 million. She's not the only one to do it. The £5 million thing is a massive problem. Everybody in Reform knows it. Now, Rachel says, I know you have to talk about the £5 million issue with Farage, but even if he gets forced to a by-election, I'm pretty certain he'd win his seat back. He's a fighter and has massive support. He does have massive support. He is a fighter. I want to keep stressing. I bow to no one in my admiration for Nigel Farage. What he's done with Reform UK is phenomenal. To take that party from being a kind of also-ran outrider into the party that is polling the most popular party in the country still ahead is just astonishing. It's astonishing, but it does seem that Makerfield, I think the failure in Makerfield hit him hard.
Yeah.
That's 2 by-elections in a row. Reform chose lousy candidates. Matt Goodwin in Gorton and Denton, I have massive admiration for him, very clever guy, but he's a southern professor. To stick him into a northern working class community like Gorton and Denton was a non-starter, no hoper. And that guy Rob Kenyon, the plumber who stood at Makerfield, I mean, he never stood a chance. So 2 bad candidates in a row. I think Makerfield, the failure in Makerfield, hit Nigel Farage hard, and there is talk, you can't avoid it, there's a lot of talk about his very future. How long will he stay in charge of Reform UK?
Speaking of things nobody wants to inherit, let's talk reform. Nigel Farage is currently under formal investigation by the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner over an undeclared £5 million gift from a Thailand-based crypto billionaire. Farage says nobody cares. The Commons might disagree, because if he's found to have broken the rules, that's a suspension, a recall petition, and potentially a by-election in his own seat. The man who built Reform into Britain's most popular party could end up unseated by the very machinery he mastered to get others thrown out.
A formal slavery reparations petition with the King Charles. They want billions of pounds from Britain to compensate for us running slave plantations in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, 300 years ago. Yeah. I'll tell you what they can do with their formal petition for slavery reparations. They could stick it where the sun don't shine. They're never going to get this, are they?
No, they're never going to get it. But the thing with this is, who's pushing them to do it? This is because of China. This is their influence in kind of destabilising the Commonwealth. If you look at other places where they've kind of removed themselves from the Commonwealth, it has been heavy Chinese investment, which has led to destabilisation of relations. It's part of the kind of messing with the geopolitical balance.
So why are we accepting their
Because we're
petition?
idiots. Because we're idiots. That's part of the problem. It's the blind leading the dumb, unfortunately. But I do think that we have to start realising that this isn't done because people care about the issue. It's being done for political motivations.
The Chinese need to get their act together, because we don't really give a damn about these stupid requests for massive amounts of money for slavery 300 years ago. So if the Chinese thinks that destabilises us, it actually galvanises us to tell these chancellors, no, you're not going to get a penny. Tough luck. This is the real world. Now you hop off back to Jamaica, all right?
Add in a defence establishment warning the cupboard is bare, a Jamaican reparations delegation to the palace that's raising eyebrows in Whitehall, and a governing party currently auditioning its own successor in real time, and you've basically got a political soap opera with worse haircuts and higher stakes. The uncomfortable truth underneath all of it: slogans win by-elections. They don't fund submarines, fix borders, or balance books. Britain's about to find out whether its next leader, whoever that ends up being, is the real deal or just the best performance in a very crowded theatre. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next